I think let me check everything here. Yeah, whenever
See
you're
live.
ready.
Welcome back to the First of the Worst podcast. I'm Brendan Murphy,
And I'm Steve Arendis.
and this is as I like to say, a night game. We're
Yep.
all over the map, but this is a Sunday night, our first Sunday night game. You know, I mean, this one's live primetime on NBC. You got Al Michaels,
Yeah, a little Carrie
Collinsworth.
Underwood.
Yeah, little
Carrie
Carrie
Underwood.
Underwood. But Steve and I have both had oddly busy Sundays, so we had to wait till the end of the day
Yeah.
to do that. But before we get into anything, we want to hammer home our marketing and social media presence. So let's list all the ways that you can get involved with this show. Like us on Facebook is one.
Yeah. You should subscribe to us on iTunes. And
That's
review us.
actually one. That is number one and one. That is 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
Then like us on Facebook if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Then
You could follow us on
follow us
Twitter.
on Twitter, but we've put no energy or effort into the First of the Worst Twitter account. But you could follow us at our regular accounts. I'm at Shy_Murph, and Steve, you are at...
Arendass, Arendass.
Okay. So that's the rundown.
Way
We're
more
on
action there.
We're on Tumblr, but
Yeah, forget that.
I don't even
Also-
really understand the concept of Tumblr.
Also, you could just email us firstoftheworst@gmail.com.
Yeah, you can even G-chat that account, maybe,
If anybody's in there.
if anyone's on.
If it happens to look like somebody's on, go for it.
Sometimes it'll be on, like maybe you don't close it on your computer, and I'll log onto my Gmail, and it'll be like First the Worst is on yellow. And I'll be like, oh, we're just away. And I'm like looking at you at your desk at work, and I'm like, huh. So that was 3 minutes of self-promotion. Which for me is that's a minimal amount. We all know I love me. Steve and I differ on the self-promotion thing.
Yeah, I hate it. And
You're the most reluctant self-promoter on the face of the earth. I would tattoo my own face on my chest if I wouldn't get disowned by my family.
It's a bold tattoo.
It's a beautiful face, though.
Didn't the guy from Jackass did that? Like, right, Steve-O, like his entire back is this picture of his face.
Is he still living? Is he one of the ones that sadly succumbed to?
No, he is not the guy from Jackass who died.
Okay.
That was a different guy. I don't remember his name.
He had some major substance abuse issues, which should not be shocking because with all the pain they put themselves through, painkillers would be the least of the.
Yeah.
Painkillers would just be something they would use a
All the
lot
time.
of.
Yeah.
When you have like alligators eating bacon off your nipples.
So you got anything going on before we get into the list?
Weird day today. I had my first date in a while.
Oh.
Maybe I didn't want to be there. I don't know. Maybe it was like some self-sabotage type thing. It did not go well. Turns out that if you, in the first 20 minutes of date, make a joke about agreeing with the Catholic Church's stance on condoms because condoms don't feel good, that date does not last very long. And then I could have been like, she was appalled, and I could see it on her face. I thought that I was like, man, I'm going to use this as a bit. So I was just riffing, and she was appalled, and I could have been like, I'm just joking, but instead I was like, I mean, I see the practical purposes for condoms, but we all agree that they suck. And then so I just really just dug the hole deeper.
That's amazing. Did you like try to sell her on the rhythm method?
No, I did. I could not. I was like, we should just go back to my place and figure this out once and for all. I could not. I didn't realize she was that appalled, and this waitress came around. I was like, hey, do you guys want to run another round? And I was like, yeah, sure. She's like, I'm good. I was like, oh. And then after the date, I was like counting like what I could have said. Either that or when I said I don't believe in doggy heaven. A lot of religion for the first 20 minutes of that date.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was the condom thing.
I think it was probably the condom thing, too.
I mean, doggy heaven's one thing. It's like one thing you can't say negative things about dogs, but doggy heaven, you might have slid there.
Yeah. So, if our copay wasn't so expensive, I could maybe go to a therapist and she could analyze why I did that, because clearly I did not want to be on that date. Right?
Doesn't sound like you.
I don't think I'm ready to be dating again, which I had already been saying. So I will just kind of back off
man,
that,
just
I think.
hold off through the summer at this point.
Steve thinks you see, it's a misconception amongst married people that summer is just like this like hot orgy of young singles. No, you got to work to get some lovin' in any season. And by the way, I said that in the most PG-13 way I could. I'm pretty proud of myself.
No, you just got to be free. That's what it's not about the loving. Just be free for the beginning of the summer and do whatever you want. And then at the end of the summer, you obviously, I mean, everybody tries to like lock in somebody for the fall
hibernation
and winter.
season. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need somebody to Netflix with in the fall and winter.
Yeah. I haven't had someone to Netflix with in a long time. My queue is a lot of documentaries about sports.
That stinks though. You have to save something that you can watch with a girl for the end of the season.
You, my friend, are going to be Netflixing pretty crazily in the next 18 years, I would say.
Yeah. I just finished The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, the first season.
Oh, really? How was it?
It's pretty good. There's some pretty funny like guest stars that pop up on that. There's one that you would love, and I don't know if you're going to watch it, so I don't want to spoil it.
Well, don't spoil it for our listeners then.
It's not necessarily who it is, but the roles they're playing, and because I know one of your favorite things in the world would revolve around these things.
Oh, then I have to watch it now.
It's the last 2 episodes. You have to get all the way. All right. Let's get into the list today. So.
Okay. And we are going to make a more conscious effort to explain the concept of this, as we know we have just tens of new listeners each week.
Yeah.
This list is supposed to be 10 bad things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the most out-of-the-box list we've ever done. But I mean, I guess the genesis, as we always say, was 10 best Vince Vaughn movies after Swingers. This was probably over a year ago, right?
Yeah. So number 1 is going to be the best of these things, even though they're all bad.
But on some of these lists, number 1 has been like something that just turns out to be good.
Yeah, a couple good things, but in general, the category is bad.
The category is generally bad. Yeah.
So the list we're doing today are things you sleep on that aren't beds. And I think
this sounds like a character. This sounds like something from that show with Steve Harvey, where you like name something and you see survey says. What's that show? Family Feud.
Family Feud. I think this came up because we were talking about camping once,
which we both hate.
Yeah, and part of the reason I think we hate it is the sleeping situation.
Okay, this is a spin-off of a First of the Worst podcast about family vacations. We're less than 10 episodes in and we already have a spin-off. I would say we're kind of killing the game.
Yeah, it's great. So let's start it up. You want me to start at number 10 or do you want to today?
The tradition has been that I start, but
you go for it.
I mean, we can mix it up. All right, number 10. I like my number 10s, and I say this every week. There's something that I go a little outside of the box on.
Hold up, actually. What? I mean, this is we kind of didn't talk about this at all, really. What was like your reasoning for ranking things here? Because you could take this a lot of different ways.
Okay, so mostly it was personal experience.
Okay, I kind of use personal experience and a lot of these things there's variation inside of what they are. So
totally.
I just said blind item. If you told me I could sleep on this or this, and I didn't know if it was a good version or a bad version, which one would I take blindly? That's how I did it.
See, I did some specificity. Spoiler alert, there's a couch on here. I specified what type of couch.
Okay, no, I thought about doing that, didn't do it, but I took some things where it's I'm thinking of the average, but then also the potential upside.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. Also, today was a list that I did without any internet help, since my foray into the singles pool went so short. I had some time to sit at the bar and make my list while I watched basketball before my audition, which went well. So it was an up and down day for me.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your number 10?
My number 10 is, and this is the first 2 I have never slept on. And I want to think that this has happened in more movies than just one, but I could definitely think of it happening in American Pie, it's a classic comedy. We should all allow that.
Yeah.
But the comedy sequels are all terrible. Another list potentially. By the way, top 10 comedy sequels. A roundabout way. Number 10 for me is Pool Table.
Pool table. I talked about so everything on my list I've actually slept on, and I made a list of everything I could ever think of ever sleeping on in my entire life, and there was things that didn't make the list.
Oh, like I didn't put beanbag chair on there, and I know for a fact I passed out in a beanbag chair after smoking some pot in college.
I didn't put bathtub, and I've slept in a bathtub before.
Yeah, that's not that. You could drown. How hard could you sleep?
There was no water in it. I just slept in the bathtub.
Well, that sounds like it was a great night.
But that didn't make my list. So you went pool table. I was talking to my wife about this, asking her for anything.
I totally thought I thought after the fact, since Jess is actually in interior design, we should have had her as a guest host tonight.
She said she slept under a pool table once before, but never on top of one. So I've never slept on a pool table. She said she slept under the pool table because the pool table was actually harder than the ground.
Maybe it's just one of those things that's funny in concept and terrible in real life.
Okay.
I don't envision a scenario where I will be sleeping on a pool table going.
I mean, the only way would be at these like American Pie style big high school party, and there's just no other space, and you just like that's the only space is the pool table. Like where else are you gonna go? So this leads, I guess, to my number 10, which is just the ground. Which
that's a great pick. It's a great pick.
Which is ranked higher than some other things that were left off my list. I don't want to say what they are in case you have them on your list.
Okay.
But it's the ground, and which I didn't specify inside or outside ground, but indoor ground is better than outdoor ground. Specifically, carpeted would be the best situation for ground sleeping.
So 2 years ago, I went back to Mizzou for homecoming and stayed with a friend of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And the first night, my friend gave me the big couch, and the second night, he gave me the love seat. I don't have
brutal.
Love seat's not on my list. Love seat's terrible.
Ground's better than love seat.
Ground is better. So this guy had a stone marble floor, which was basically concrete, and it was like 30 degrees outside. It was freezing. It was either that or the love seat, and I opted for the stone marble in like all of my layers of clothing.
I've slept on a love seat before. Your feet fall asleep 100% of the time.
I can't do it. I can't sleep in a non-laying down position, and I'm a sleep bastard. Whenever my friends and I go on trips, like I get to good bed, there's no questions asked because I'll be cranky and ruin everything because I'm an emotional ocean at all times.
Yeah, I'm not good with my sleeping. I'm very particular about my sleeping.
I need to sleep, and I need like 6 hours, even if it's like terrible drunk sleep in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think our agreement on this is why this list is even happening.
Yes. And that trip, sleeping that night on the marble floor, which, by the way, I woke up at 3 a.m. and made Heisman switch with me because he's a better person than me. And I could have lied and just say that didn't happen, but it did.
So then, my number 9.
That trip, I'm sorry. That trip is why I will no longer do a non-bed situation.
Oh, yeah.
Or like a couch. That has cemented it. At 28 years old, then I decided that was never happening again.
At some point, you realize you're an adult and you just sleep in beds.
So, sorry, number 9.
My number 9 is kind of like the ground. I call it pile of pillows / cushions on the ground. Like, we've all done the thing where you just, like, there's nothing else to sleep on. You, like, lay pillows or, like, couch cushions. Like, somebody else has the couch, but you're like, I want those back cushions from the couch that you're not actually sleeping on, and I'm going to lay those on the ground, and I'm going to sleep on top of those. And that's slightly better than the ground.
And, like, when you're a kid, you, like, make little pillow houses and you sleep in them. But when you're a kid, you can sleep anywhere. I literally got angry at my parents and slept on the bathroom floor one night because I wanted them to think I ran away. And I did not have good aim as a child, so who knows what was on that bathroom floor.
All right, man. So what's your number 9?
This is this is one other thing that I have not slept on, but I think could work.
Okay.
Number 9, trampoline.
Oh, I didn't even think of trampoline.
Trampoline would be like a solid sleeping surface in the right circumstances. If it was a really, really nice night outside and you had a blanket, you could pull it off.
Perfect weather, basically.
Or if it was like inside, like a large room, sleeping on a trampoline would not be the worst thing ever.
I agree. I didn't even think of that. I've never slept on one, but I think that's not a terrible choice.
And my number 8 is something that I detest and that I have probably slept on second most of anything to a bed in my life, and that is pull-out couch.
Pull-out couches are terrible.
Although I believe that you have told me that you guys have a really nice pull-out couch.
We have an amazing one. It's different. It's a different thing, though. I don't really consider it a pull-out couch. It's like a different apparatus. I don't know even how to explain it, so I didn't put it on our list.
It's not the old school big
Fold-out
bar
thing.
in the middle thing. Yeah.
It doesn't exist. No.
Yeah.
But the pull-out couch, yeah, pull-out couches guarantee you back pain for a week. Even if you have the best back ever, you're still gonna have back pain for a week. And if you don't have the best back ever, you're screwed.
I actually slept on one for 4 nights in Paris this time because I stayed with a friend, and he had a bunch of bedrooms, and his whole family was out of town for my first 3 days there. They were just like huge beds all over the place, and he made up the pull-out couch for me, like sending me a signal like, "Hey, buddy, know your place."
I love it.
I was cat sitting a very finicky Parisian cat.
In Paris.
I couldn't even find him half the time. I thought I lost the cat for a day, and I was like, "Oh, this is not the way to pay off your for the free lodging." That story went nowhere, like so many of mine. So I am 9. You are up with number 8, I believe.
I did no. You did 10, and then I did 10, 9. So you're on 9 and 8. Have you done 8?
I did trampoline and pull-out couch.
Oh yeah, pull-out couch. Okay. Okay. So then my number 8 is a cot.
Oh, I forgot about cots.
Cots are terrible. They're basically smaller pull-out couches that aren't attached to a couch. There's some different kinds that people use for camping, which I've never really slept on. But like the cot, you ever slept on the cot in the hotel room that like they bring up?
Oh,
worse.
I mean, yeah, that's not good. It's so narrow.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
so
a really
narrow. It's like
couch.
long enough, but it's so narrow.
Yeah, they're just not good. I really cut myself on one once. Like the crappy.
I can totally see that.
I cut myself badly on one once. It wasn't fun.
I'm surprised there's not more cot-related injuries.
There probably is a lot. So then my number 7 then, right? It's on for me for 7 is car. Shotgun in a car.
Shotgun, okay.
Specifically. Some people say backseat, but I'm too tall to sleep in the backseat of a car. Shotgun, reclined, boom. You can do that for a night.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I can't sleep unless I'm laying down.
But you can recline in a shotgun seat pretty far.
It doesn't really work for me, but I do have. Am I up now? Sorry.
And I'm not saying that's a good option.
Okay, so I have a car-related option that I want to. Mine's kind of the opposite of yours. Mine is backbench van. That is not a bad sleeping setup. No, that's now. That's number 7.
Oh, perfect.
Number 7 is backbench van. I did it with my family in a minivan on the way to Maryland.
Yeah.
And my friend Brendan McCaffrey, he used to have a conversion van that I've slept in. And then when we would go on road trips, because he snores louder than in 747, we would make him sleep in his conversion van, and he would willingly do it.
Well, I mean, if anything, movies have ever taught me plenty of people in the world live in conversion vans, so.
Somewhere down by the river. Once he got drunk at like 9 o'clock, went to sleep in his conversion van. We all woke him up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he drove us back from the bars. On a road trip. He's a great friend. I mean, if anything this is showing is I have great friends.
You have great friends.
I'm the worst of them.
That, you don't deserve.
Yeah, exactly. If we're ranking the first of the worst people in my life, I am not on the list.
All right. So then I guess you're on number 6 because after your backseat bench of a car.
Backseat bench van specifically.
Van,
this is what we were talking about where I was like going with like a little more specific than you.
Yeah.
Where you were just taking the average of the general expectation.
Yeah.
I'm a little more specific. This number 6 is one that I have been sleeping on. I've been honing my practice lately, and I have gotten some quality Z's, admittedly not for a night, on a yoga mat.
Yoga mat? You could sleep on a yoga mat?
I mean, it's not ideal. It's obviously very narrow.
It's not.
But you're in a very relaxed state. It's better than ground. It's ground with padding.
It's like an inch of padding on ground. Not even, but like some padding, like a half inch of padding on ground. I mean, it is better than ground. I didn't even think of yoga mat. It's also so narrow.
It is so narrow. I mean, it's not ideal. In fact, I totally overrated it. I would say trampoline, if you get the right kind of trampoline, is probably better than
Yeah,
that.
it seems like trampoline would be way. Trampoline is probably really high on this list. The more I think about it,
But neither of us have actually done it, so...
and it's not like a convenient situation because of how big they are.
Well, that's the opposite of the cot. You
Yeah.
could roll all over the place.
Yeah. Well, speaking of rolling all over the place, it's one of the downsides to the next one I have, and I'm gonna have to mark the time in this because I'm gonna have to bleep myself. Because I don't know what this is called besides calling it a flip and fuck.
I don't know what that is. So you're gonna need to explain it to me.
I've only heard these things referred to as flip and fucks. So what it is like it's like a.
Can we call them flipping ducks for the purpose of this podcast?
Well, I'll just keep saying it because I have to come through and edit these anyway. What it is like it's like a chair, like a really low chair. You only see them like in dorm rooms in college, and it folds, right? So like, and it has like
it's like a couch, right, with like no skeleton.
there's no skeleton. It's not a futon.
Yes, it's kind of like a futon,
It's
though.
kind of though, and you unfold it into like a thin like twin, like less than twin size bed thing.
Yep, I know people who have had sex on those for sure.
And they're like the chair part of it is like you can't even really sit in it as a chair. It's like so low and gushy. It just kind of like,
It is. It's amorphous.
it doesn't
We had one in
work.
Joe's dorm, in my friend Joe's room at college. That was like the most disgusting germ-ridden thing ever.
Well, of course it is. They're,
Like
they're gross.
Multiple times, someone spilled their dip cup on it.
But they're kind of comfortable to lay on because it is just like a foot of padding when you like roll it all out. The problem is you're gonna roll off it at some point in the middle of the night.
They're not as narrow as a cot, because the one that I'm
Well, they
thinking
come in
was
different
like,
widths. Like they
like
come in.
double-
Like,
I've seen a double wide.
oh, that would be great. That's
Like two
probably higher
dudes
on my
could sit
list.
on it.
Yeah. But yeah, because it's not quite a futon, but it's in the futon family. That's the only. I don't. Do you know what it's called?
No, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I picture the green one that I had probably have slept on myself.
I am going to. The picture for this podcast is going to be a picture of one of them,
Okay, it has to be.
so that people can know what we're talking about
Yes.
if they don't already.
We might have to post that picture on the First of the Worst Facebook page too.
It'll be the picture that goes up on like the where you click for it, so it'll be on the Facebook page.
Oh yes, the picture that sometimes you click on it and it plays, and sometimes it doesn't. And
it's
still
just
haven't-
different every time.
It's just
and I don't
different every
know.
time we post to the Facebook page. I do know that our post this week will do better than 95% of our posts.
Because that's what they tell us every single week.
And
even though
if we
it's not
pay
true.
$5, it'll do 500% better than 95% of the post.
So wait, am I on number 5 now?
Okay, so I did 7 and 6.
So yeah, I do 6 and 5. So then my number 5 is pull-out couch, which
Okay.
this is still in the part until I get to like number 2 or 3. I think these things all still suck. I don't want to sleep on them. But pull-out couch, at least, here's the thing: pull-out couch is, like I said before, terribly uncomfortable, but you get space.
You do.
Over all the things below it, like you get a lot more space. Unless like you're sharing a pull-out couch, is a disaster because you're gonna.
I have done that at a lake house with another dude.
But your back's gonna feel terrible. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, not only is the bar in the middle of it, it's the thinnest mattress ever made.
Yeah.
Like, if the mattress was a little thicker, then the bar wouldn't be jabbing into your ribs and spine as much.
For sure. There's got to be another way.
Well, there is. I mean, as you have one. I mean,
Yeah.
they've made the technology. Also, not entirely part of the list, but have you ever tried moving a pull-out couch?
Yes.
It's the hardest thing to do on earth.
They're so heavy.
Not the hardest thing to move, the hardest thing to do.
That or floss every day.
Yes, you're right. What's your theory? What's the thing about floss that you say?
I think it's more impressive for somebody to floss every day than to run a marathon because I know tons of people who run marathons, and I know maybe a couple people who floss every day.
20% of white people have run a marathon in their life.
Yeah, there's no way 20% of white people floss every day.
No, not at all.
Flossing's brutal. Now you want to impress me? Run 26 miles while flossing the whole time. So much blood.
No, there won't be blood if you floss every day. That's what that's
You're
the
right.
trick they tell you. And I'm like, I think you're still pressing wire into your gums. I've never flossed enough to know if that's true or not.
Yeah, it's an impossible dream. All right, so what's your number 5?
Hey, if our own cackles are any indication, this might be our funniest podcast yet.
It's probably because it's a night game.
Night games always get weird, man. My number 5 is hammock.
Okay, controversy. I left hammock off my list. Why do
Okay.
you like the hammock at number 5?
Because I've taken naps on them, admittedly have not slept through a night on one.
I was gonna say I've never even successfully fallen asleep on a hammock. I've tried. I just can't do it. I don't know why. It's not uncomfortable. Well, some are more comfortable than others. Like if they're rope hammocks, you get all like the lines on your back.
Yeah, that's what that is actually what I'm thinking of, because that's what my parents have. So I am thinking of a rope hammock specifically. I'm not thinking of like one of those outward bound North Face hammocks that like you can zip yourself into. I mean, that's probably really comfortable.
I also feel like of all the things you could sleep on, it has the highest potential injury factor of like waking up weird in the middle of the night and swinging off of it.
My parents rent their house and they take the hammock down when we're not there because it's a safety risk.
Yeah, good move. Good move, your
Because
parents.
people are idiots.
And they're just like harder to use than they look like. I've 100% fallen off a hammock.
Okay, to get a hammock perfectly still, you need to be like a yogi of the highest level. You need to have that kind of balance and concentration.
Yeah, it's tough. I bet like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar does it.
Well, I mean, the man has fought Bruce Lee, and like fairly successfully, in the coolest video of all time.
That movie, it's like not even like a whole movie, right?
I
It's like
stumbled
part of
upon
the
that
movie.
on regular TV in like 2003, and I could not believe it. I thought I was on too many drugs. And this was before you could like rewind it and all these things. This is before YouTube. I was just telling people, I was like, dude, did you know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did a karate match against Bruce Lee? And everyone's like, that's a lie. That's a lie.
That
I was
was
like,
awesome.
no! I saw it on a channel. I saw it on like USA because we only had like 40 channels then.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've seen it too. It's like at the top of a building. It's like at the top floor of some building. Like the Bruce Lee like fights his way up or something. I don't know. Somebody's gonna correct this hopefully, and tell us what.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
is.
there's probably some details omitted, but it did happen.
Yeah, he definitely. Bruce Lee and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar definitely fought. I mean, I'm sure it was not a real fight.
It was a movie fight.
But
It was a movie fight.
definitely. It was, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's the greatest, one of the all-time leading scorer in NBA
And
history.
it wasn't like some like CGI stuff. Like they were like doing the stuff.
That did not exist
Yeah.
when this was filmed. This was like 1971. All right, so am I up with 4?
I believe so. Yes.
I'll be curious where this goes on your list. And I have had bad and good experiences with these, but I will say that my experiences with these are they're roomy and they're portable.
Mm-hmm. I think I know where you're going.
Air mattress.
Yeah, air mattress. It's coming up pretty soon. There's
sucks
upsides
still.
and downsides. It's not good.
I've never found one that doesn't have like a hole somewhere in it to where you wake up in the morning and it's like 50% less full.
Yeah, and they're kind of loud. Like if you like roll around, they're always like squeaky. And
You're
loud.
right. Now they have like a sheet on them, but you can still hear like
And if you sleep on it, like you ever sleep on an air mattress with another person?
No. I have
So
not.
like that thing you're talking about, how it like deflates.
Yeah.
You like 100% of the time like go down like towards the middle, and like you can't get away from that.
That sounds terrible. There are very few times when I celebrate my singleness and loneliness. I'm so glad I've never had to share an air mattress with anyone, though.
Yeah,
Makes it all worthwhile.
You don't want to. You don't want to do it. Yeah, and and the problem is they're never like pre-made up for you. So it's like 2 a.m. and you're like
Yes.
drunk,
Yes.
and you're like, oh, I gotta make the air mattress.
Now they are self-inflating, though.
But they still like are loud,
yeah.
and you're
It's
just, like,
not great.
and they're like, and then putting them back in, like rolling them back up and like putting them back in whatever they came out of is like impossible.
They're so heavy. for being made of air.
Yeah, they're really heavy. I know some people who like slept on air mattresses for years as like their beds.
I had a third roommate in Bristol who just had an air mattress, and it would be deflated every morning. He'd essentially be sleeping on the floor.
I have a female friend who you also know fairly well, and she is one of the fancier people I know, and she 100% has slept on an air mattress for like 3 years.
Hey,
If she's listening to this, she'll know who she is.
hey, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
She made it.
So that I'm on number 4.
Yeah.
My number 4 is probably one you don't have on your list based on some things I've heard you say. It's recliner, like a lazy.
I do not have. Yes, it was something that I had in my brainstorming list.
I love a good lazy boy to sleep on. The downside being you can't roll over. Like you can't like lay on your stomach on the lazy boy. It's impossible.
Well, Steve, if you want reclining furniture, I have told you, but I don't know if I've told the masses, that every piece of furniture in my living room does recline.
It's pretty.
That is a fact. Well, right now I'm looking at it right now, and the ironing board is up. So if you count that as a piece of furniture, it doesn't really recline. But besides
kind of
that,
like folds down at least.
it does. It has that whole axle full rod. I don't know, like one of the 5 inventions things in it.
So you don't ever like take serious naps on that on any of your reclining furniture?
No, I have a couch. That's my nap apparatus.
Don't you have a couch that also reclines on both ends?
I have a couch that the seats all recline, including the middle seat. It's a 3-person couch.
First off, the middle seat reclining is bananas.
It's also really effing heavy.
Yeah, well, that's like reclining couches might be as heavy as
The only thing is you could take it apart. You cannot take apart. You cannot take apart a
pull-out couch.
Pull-out couch. You cannot.
No, you can't. But I love a good recliner nap, which sometimes turns into and growing up when I was a little kid, one of my friends who I spend the night at his house, and I slept on a recliner like all the time. I'd like fall asleep watching like weird late night MTV.
With Matt Pinfield or
like the 8th Sports Center in a row, one of the two. Hosted by Craig Kilborn.
Kilborn was the man.
He was the best. Sadly, I was the only person who watches late night talk show.
Well, he was the originating host of the Daily Show. Let us not forget.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. I watched the Craig Kilborn show.
Wouldn't it be interesting if they brought him out of retirement to do the takeover for Jon Stewart?
I'd be interested in it. I mean, I don't know. Like Jon Stewart like kind of changed the show into like way more of like a political thing.
I don't have any recollection of the Craig Kilborn Daily Show.
It was still like political, but like it got way more political.
I mean, it's kind of real journalism now.
Yeah, it's like
the interviews are real journalism.
Yeah. I think Kilborn wasn't about that life.
No, he's fluff and hilarious.
He's great.
And he's a great villain in Old School.
It's the only movie. Is that the only movie he's ever had?
I don't know, but it's hilarious when he's like, "It's Guy Code. Can't tell. Makes you a tattletale." Something like that. You can correct that quote next week by emailing us at firsttotheworst@gmail.com.
So then that was my number 4 was recliner, and then so I'm on number 3, right?
Yeah.
And my number 3 is air mattress, which we just talked about.
Okay. Not great.
No, not good. I think my top 2 are the only ones I mean, I'm not excited about sleeping on anything on this list, to be fair, because I'm pissed that it's not a bed. But my 1 and 2 are all right. So what is your number 3 then?
I definitely have slept on this multiple times as a summer camp counselor when it was like the American Pie situation where there was like nowhere to sleep. I would like we would have days off and like 50 of us would go to a cabin. That's not me like doing liberal Murphy math. That's how many people were there. And it would be like a 3-bedroom cabin. So like people were sleeping outside, people were sleeping in cars. But I didn't think it was that bad a setup if I got to sleep in a deck lounger. I don't know what else to call it. I call it pool lounger. Do you know what I mean?
Like the long thing.
Typical pool chair.
Like when you go to a resort and like people will be tanning on them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's not bad. Because I mean, I've fallen asleep on those while like at the beach or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a good night's sleep.
And you can fold the top part all the way down to make it flat, right?
Yes, you're running into some similar problems that we
With the
discussed
bars.
with.
No, the bar should be all right with that. You can't really roll over though, right?
No rolling over. It's narrower than anything we've brought up, really,
But it has little railings
or as
on the
narrow.
side so you won't fall off. Like,
So you won't fall off. Which, when you're drinking heavily, that's a plus.
would you sleep on this outside or would you
It's-
bring one
it's
in the
a-
place?
I only recall sleeping on them outside in Cross Lakes, Minnesota. I think that's the name of the town and the lake. So that would be my number 3. And
I'm
my
assuming
number
we're
2
gonna have the
is-
same top 2. And there's no way we don't have the same top 2.
Okay. Well, my number 2 is, you haven't said it yet, so it's a version of the Flippin' Duck. Or it's, you know what, the Flippin' Duck is like, it's bastardized, terrible offspring of like incest.
Yeah. This is the same. We're gonna have the same top 2.
The
same order.
futon. The
Yeah,
futon.
futon number 2.
If you get a pretty thick futon pad for your futon, that's a totally livable, sleepable situation.
There's plenty of people who just like that's what they use as a bed in college.
Yeah.
It was a bad decision, but there's plenty of people.
You
who
know
did
what,
that.
though? You didn't buy a bed.
Yeah, you didn't buy a bed. It's cheaper than a bed, and they just did it so they can like hang out in their room or whatever more and use it as like a couch.
It's like what neither of us are going to have what they call a Murphy bed on here.
Because that's a bed still, I think.
Oh, you can't. I mean, I don't know. I've never slept on one. I don't even know if I've ever seen one in real life.
My sister has one at her house. I've actually never seen it folded out, but they have one.
Is it, I would. That's the first thing I would do if I found out they had a Murphy bed. Is I would just ignore their request to whatever they wanted me to do and walk to it and fold it down just to see how it is. I might like try to nap on it.
I assume it's like a normal bed, but maybe that's a terrible assumption. I always wanted one when I was a little kid.
Yeah, because it's cool as hell. I still want one.
Well, I mean, it fits, right?
Oh yeah, it fits because I don't live like an adult. Yes.
Oh, and I was just saying your last name.
Oh, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, futon. I mean, it's spacey, right? Like it's like you aren't cramped in. You got plenty of room, and you get a good futon. A good futon's pretty comfortable.
Even the average, if we're going by your way
Yeah,
of doing this,
and
even
this is
the
why-
average one is pretty
This
good.
is why it's ranked high. Is because your worst case scenario futon's not that bad, and an average So like I was just looking at this. If somebody was like futon air mattress, I'm saying futon. Sight unseen, I don't get to see what they are. Futon.
100 out of 100 times.
I'm picking the futon. Now there could be some of those times where the air mattress is better than the futon, but the odds are saying the futon's better, so I'm taking it.
I think that it's almost impossible for the air mattress to be better. I think that a pull-out couch could maybe be better. We've already disqualified this newfangled pull-out couch.
Yeah.
So
I'll show it to you once.
doesn't.
It's amazing.
You know what? We actually do this over video, so Steve could actually like just show it to me now, and I could be marveled and not say anything.
It's a pain.
I could do like it would be like a radio broadcast with Don Criqui, where he always says on the radio, "You have to see it to believe it, folks." That does not work on the radio. So I'm looking at this couch now, and guys, you have to see it to believe it.
So then I guess number one's couch, right?
Number one, but I got a little more specific than you because I had a couch that we loved. I loved my parents' couch growing up. It was a down feather couch. Everyone loved it. It was reupholstered 3 times. Originally it was black and white, then it was green and white, then it was denim. And we brought it down to Mizzou and it never made it back. And I would still take that couch in my living room today.
Okay. I have probably the 2 best couches in the world for sleeping on in my place. I'll put them up against any couches. One is the pull-out couch. You don't even need to pull it out. It's amazing. The other one, I'm just going to hold this up so we could just do just what you talked about. You see this giant gray thing there?
It's a chaise lounge.
Yeah.
It's a couch with a chaise lounge.
It's 12 feet long. Actually, no.
You and Jessica
it's like
lay on it and not touch each other.
It's not 12 feet long, but it's like 10 feet long. It's amazing, and it's really deep. There's no way to sit on that couch with good posture. It's only for laying down.
Yeah, I mean, a good couch. I won't video you my couch, but I specifically said the down feather couch because I have a leather couch, and I think leather couches suck for sleeping on.
Yeah, this one's down feather too.
Down feather's the way to go.
This one's down feather too, and I agree. Leather couches. If you want to sleep on a leather couch, you gotta throw like a sheet over it.
You have to, and it'll still come up in the middle of the night, and you'll wake up with your face stuck to the leather.
But like they're comfortable until like an hour into your sleep.
If it's like hot,
I can fall asleep on a leather couch and then I wake up miserable. Is what happens.
you can
But like
nap on one.
yeah, but I've slept on some crappy couches, but in general I'm picking couch. So I don't think best you want is like a sectional or like a chase thing because you know it's long enough. The length of a couch is huge.
Oh, I can't sleep if I can't have my full body recline on a level plane. I can't do the my legs are over the edge bullshit.
Well, then you have to hope there's an ottoman that you can pull over and like kind of sleep.
Okay, yeah, or like a coffee table. Yeah, you're doing a little MacGyvering.
Yeah, I mean we've all done that. Yeah,
You know what
yeah, couch is where it's at.
This part of this podcast makes me sad because it's kind of a remember when. The whole thing is like, remember when that was so crazy when I had to sleep on this terrible apparatus
All the time.
all the time,
Yeah.
and now that
This podcast is making me feel old.
that era of our life is gone. Like I want to sleep on a yoga mat tonight just to prove to myself that it can be done. You'll
Here's
see me
the
walking
thing,
into work tomorrow.
The problem is you're not drunk enough right now to be sleeping on a yoga mat tonight, and that's what almost all of these things have in common is you're not sober when you're going to sleep on them, unless it's like a camping trip and then you're just sleeping on the ground outside. But you're probably not sober then, unless you're a little kid.
Yeah, no sleeping bag from either of us, but I guess I
Well,
kind of purpose.
I didn't. I thought about sleeping bag, but I kind of didn't think sleeping bag's more just like a blanket.
Sleeping
it's
bag
just
is
on
just
part of it.
ground.
Yeah,
bag's
sleeping
ground.
bag's
Really,
you're
right?
enhancing ground. It's like sleeping bag's ground,
Yeah, so that doesn't really count.
and like ground in like. I mean, we're both not campers. Camping people probably know like other like things. There's probably other. I'm trying to think of anything we forgot on any of our lists. Like I just put regular chair did not make my list. I've done the regular chair with like a futon combo before. That is not good. Because like you're kind of too upright, and it kind of separates in the middle of the night, and you have to like move it around.
Yeah. I mean, so like when you said front seat car, that is not counting an airplane though.
No, airplane's like the worst place to sleep.
Some airlines give you more space.
People
Not
specifically, but well, first class airplane is actually something we should probably have discussed because that's kind of just recliner.
I've never done it.
It is kind of just recliner. Regular airplane though is brutal. Like people take drugs on them. Like people who don't take drugs on airplanes if they go to sleep. Like
I take drugs, but I take more of them on airplanes.
I'm just trying to look at I brainstorm and write things on a list. That's kind of everything. Yeah, but airplane it's the worst. I can't do it. I mean, I have to be super tired and just pass out in an airplane.
I had a couple things that didn't make my list. One is park bench. I was just riffing. I was just like writing things that like people sleep on. Park bench didn't make it.
I guess the upside to park bench over the ground is you keep yourself off the off the ground maybe for critters.
One is beach, which is just ground, I guess.
I've slept on the beach, not like a full night. I've like fallen asleep on the beach, but I couldn't imagine full night on the beach. It seems a little much.
Yeah, I mean, the era of my life where that would have happened is probably over, unless I get into some like steamy 50 Shades of Grey type situation where I meet a woman in like the Bahamas. Maybe it's more of like a Stella got her groove back situation.
Yeah, maybe, or like unless we somehow come into a lot of money and then have like a beach house.
It'll be what would we call like a first of the worst themed beach house?
I don't know.
That might be. We might have to come back to that next week.
The first of the worst themed beach house.
The first of the worst themed beach house.
Yeah,
it would have no beds. It would only have these things in it. Your best case scenario, the first of the worst beach house is that you get to sleep on a down feather couch, but you might have to sleep on a couch or a fucking tuck.
Flip and fuck.
Flip and fuck.
Fucking duck. There's gonna have at least 5 bleeps in this podcast.
Hey, this was the first time you've ever been bleeped.
No, yeah, and I've been bleeped now just as many times as you, I think. We got anything else then before we end this bad boy?
No, but I do want to say that you and I are both really excited about some of the upcoming podcast topics we have.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think we're finally figuring out some things here. Do we want to tease any of them or no?
Well, I don't know what's next. I honestly don't know what next week is.
Next week is gonna be, it's gonna be me centric.
Okay. It's next. Yeah, we can say what it is.
We're gonna talk about the best people ever to act in Fast and Furious movies. And spoiler alert, not spoiler alert. I don't know why I said that. I hate when people say spoiler alert incorrectly, and I just used it. I'm gonna break down a drinking game for you guys to play when you go see Fast and Furious in the theater.
If you don't want to go see this movie, which you probably don't, after you hear about this, you probably will.
And also, I suggest you go to a theater where you're not legally allowed to drink, because it's more fun that way.
Well, I mean, even if you're allowed to drink, like a Bruin View isn't going to give you the quantity you need to play this game. You can't go to the bar and be like, I'll have 7, please.
No, but by the time we have this podcast next week, I will have seen the new Fast and the Furious movie and invented a drinking game to play with it and played it in a theater.
And Christ will have risen again.
Yeah, we might actually, right? We're probably going to record this on Monday next week.
Yeah, because I actually have opening day tickets.
Yeah. And
Cubs opening day, me and Kevin Kitchen.
And I'll be mourning Paul Walker.
Hey, Christ comes back, Paul Walker goes. You can't have it all.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Night, guys. Talk to you next week.
All right, later.